welcome to Taking a Timeout with Dustin Sullivan, a production of the KanDuGroup. KanDuGroup is a 501c3 nonprofit provider of day services for adults with developmental disabilities and is pleased to bring you this podcast. Today, Dustin's guest is Weldon Weldy Olsen. Weldy is a native of Marquette, Michigan, and the youngest of 9 hockey-playing brothers. He attended Michigan State University and played hockey for 4 seasons while attending Michigan State. He scored 71 goals and had 54 assists for a total of 125 career points. He was a leading goal scorer in each season he played and skated every game during his Michigan State University career. Following his stellar college career, Weldy was a member of the USA national and Olympic hockey teams and played on the 1956 Olympic silver medal and 1960 Olympic gold medal teams. Weldy has been inducted into the Michigan Amateur Sports Hall of Fame, the Upper Peninsula Sports Hall of Fame, the Michigan State University Athletic Hall of Fame, the Hancock County, Ohio Sports Hall of Fame, and November 2nd, 2018 was declared Weldy Olsen Day by the city of Findlay. And now I will turn the mic over to Dustin Sullivan.
Since you went to Michigan State, I got some for you. Go green, go white.
All right.
So, are you ready, Weldy?
I'm all set.
Where are you originally from?
Originally from Marquette, Michigan. That's up along Lake Superior in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
I've heard that's a beautiful place.
So, well, the whole UP is beautiful.
So you had 9 brothers and 2 sisters, correct?
8 brothers and 2 sisters.
8 brothers, close.
So
There's 9 boys
9
and
total.
2 girls.
So what was life like growing up, being the youngest, what was life like growing up as the youngest of such a large family?
Well, first of all, it was crowded.
That's got to be cost a lot of money for groceries.
Yes, it did, but we never went hungry that I remember.
That's good.
And there's one thing, you have to remember that the older brothers, 5 of them were in the Second World War.
That's awesome.
So it was an empty house for a while, but my mother had died in 1940, so that was only 7.
I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh, very good.
And everybody always called me the spoiled brat. Were you the spoiled one of the group?
They're telling me that now, and have been for about 50 years.
Yeah.
So are any of your brothers still alive or not anymore?
Just one, my brother Mark, lives in Peoria, Illinois. He's 95. And incidentally, he was the most valuable player at Michigan Tech University, 3 of his 4 years playing up there.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It seems you were dedicated to Michigan Tech, right?
At the beginning, yeah. In fact, my money is still there for registration.
That's
Okay,
Yeah.
that was
Following in the footsteps of some of your brothers,
right.
did anyone in the family go to other colleges other than
Well,
Michigan Tech?
my brother Paul went to Northern Michigan University, which is at Marquette, but Marquette had no hockey.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The Michigan Tech hockey coach moved to Michigan State and had you join him there.
Right.
Do you still hold the record as the all-time goal scorer at Michigan State University?
No. A fellow by the name of Tom Ross made over 300 total points and probably 200 and some goals.
Oh, wow.
So,
But
yeah.
one thing you've got to remember, our maximum seasons were 23, 24 goals.
Dang.
His maximum seasons at that time, when he played, which was later than me, they play 40 to 45 games a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
The other thing is, Tommy was in my junior hockey league when I was running the junior hockey league in Detroit.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, So how many years did you actually own the scoring record at Michigan State?
Oh, probably 8 or 10.
That's quite a long time.
Yeah. Well, at that time, things were in a developmental
Yeah.
time.
Things are a lot tougher now.
Yeah, oh, yes.
So what number did you wear?
14.
14.
14 at Michigan State. 14 my first year in the Olympics, but 16 was my number in the 60 Olympics.
That's a great number to have.
Why did you have to switch your number?
Well, it's a story behind that. In 1956, in the game against Canada, we had to go about 3 miles when we were in Cortina, Italy for 56. We had to go about 3 miles on the bus. When I went into my bag to pick up the rest of my equipment, I found out I had left my jersey,
Oh no.
number 14, back at the hotel. And so the coach looked over at one of the other players, Dick Rodenheiser from Boston, and he said, Dick, he said, give Ole your jersey.
Oh wow.
So I wore his number 16.
That's cool.
So when it came to the 1960 Olympics, I was the veteran with the most time in. And so they said, what jersey do you want to wear? And I said, I think we'll wear 16, see if we can beat Canada again. And we did.
That's neat.
Did you have any pregame routines?
Nothing special for me. Left skate first.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the only one I really worried about.
That's good to know. Do you have any superstitions? Wear only a certain color socks, for example?
No. I never had that luxury of
Like it did
having
throw you
enough
off
socks.
with the 14 going to the 16.
Yeah. Was that what?
It didn't throw you off going from 14 to 16 with
No,
your
it
number.
didn't bother me. I didn't know what I had on the back, but I knew I had USA on the front.
The only bummer is when you were 14, you had the same number as Pete Rose, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't realize it.
Was there any hockey player you feared the most?
Not really. We just, whoever you're playing against. There was a Swedish player by, let me see what, Lasse Bjorn.
I've heard of him.
He made sure I went to the dentist.
Oh,
That
no.
sucks.
He hit me with a stick, and I took out 10 teeth.
Ouch.
Oh my gosh. Were you out the rest of that game then?
The rest of that game I was,
Yeah.
and I missed one game. I'm Finnish, I have a Finnish background, and the team was going to Finland, but I had to stay in Stockholm to get my teeth worked on.
Right.
And the one trip we would have made to Finland, I missed. Okay.
That's a bummer. How were you asked to be on the Olympic U.S. hockey team?
Well, in 1956, there were 6 training camps around the country.
Wow.
One was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I had played against the university, and the coach at Michigan was running the tryouts. And I had played 4 games against him every year. And so he just passed me on to the final training camp
Pretty cool.
in Minneapolis. And from Minneapolis, 25 were selected to go to Duluth, Minnesota. And we started our final tryouts in Duluth. And took the 25 players that went there and worked it down to the 17 players that would play in the Olympics.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of training camps.
And there was about 300 total. Yeah.
We would love to see your medals. Can you tell us about each one of them?
Sure, they're right in front of us here. Now, if you notice, the medals are in the Olympic ring symbols. The three main rings on the
Oh,
top
cool.
with the two
Yes.
rings on the
Awesome.
bottom. And this is the silver medal from 1956, and this is the gold medal from 1960. At the same time, when you were in the Olympics at that time in history, if you were an Olympic champion, you were also the world champion.
Awesome.
And that's why we have the two medals on the bottom, the silver medal and the gold medal.
So
But
you
now
didn't-
1980, the next team to win gold for the U.S., they did not play in this.
They didn't?
No, there was no tournament in 1980.
It's crazy.
And so,
Did you play games for this, or it just
no,
was
this
automatic?
was it was automatic if you won,
Oh.
whichever one you won.
That's impressive.
And
But the
this
thing
was-
is,
This
and
is
this is merely a name, what you call a disc
Yeah.
with my name in the 2 years, only to fill out the Olympic ring.
right.
Yeah.
Did
This-
somebody make this for you?
Yes, these boxes you don't get. There's only 5 of us in the United States that have this set of medals.
Wow.
Okay, because there's a young lady that has the silver and gold, but obviously it wasn't in hockey. She's a figure skater, Carol Heiss, who now lives in the Cleveland area.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Very nice.
But
Those
they,
are nice medals.
yeah, they're very nice, and it's. I always say they belong to the nation. They don't belong to me, but I'll take care of them for a while.
Might as well.
Now,
Yeah.
where'd you play for this Olympics?
The silver medal we got in Cortina, Italy,
Nice.
and the gold was in Squaw Valley, California.
Okay, you didn't have to go far for that one.
No, no. I was in the Air Force. I wasn't in the Air Force in '56. When I came home, I was number 1 on the draft list. So I had to get into the service, and I joined the Air Force. So I played in '60 as a representative of the Air Force as well as the nation.
That's awesome.
That's
And
cool.
and the thing is that I was the only Air Force participant, athletic-wise, in the '60
That's
Olympics,
impressive.
Winter Olympics. Yeah.
Do you know the history of that? Is there any other military that's been involved in it?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
the military. One thing the U.S. military does, whenever a national team or a competition comes up, if you are a player in that sport, they will give you special duty
Okay.
to try out for these teams. So like in 1960, of course was, but the in-between years I played 57, 58, and 59.
Cool.
They send you to training camp. If you can make the team, you can play the season.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And so there's been plenty of it. We had 4 or 5 Army guys in '60. Our goaltender Jack McCartan, who I think was the most valuable player in the tournament. He was in the Army,
Okay.
and
That's
he
sweet.
felt bad because then he had to go back in the Army.
Yeah.
When he was first cut,
Wow.
they cut him first and then brought him back, and to my way of thinking, he was the most valuable player in the tournament.
So you were saying you were in the Air Force, right?
Right.
So what did you actually do in the Air Force?
I was a surveyor.
What's a surveyor actually do?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Well, at that time we were locating radar sites.
Cool.
And I was in the test program for foreign equipment that they brought in to trace the space.
That's
It's the
awesome.
beginning of the space program.
What was the most memorable thing that happened to you at the Olympics?
At the Olympics, the most favorite, biggest thing for me was seeing Paulie Johnson, my centerman,
That's
score
cool.
the winning goal against Canada
That's a great.
in
honor.
1960.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Have hockey rules changed over the years?
Yes, somewhat, but it's basically the same. Every now and then they adjust the line play, and with the blue lines and the red lines and so on, and the goal line. For instance, when we were playing in the National Hockey League rules,
Yeah.
it was only 10 feet between the front of the net and the backboards.
That's really close.
That's really close. So they moved them out. First of all, the international game moved them out to 12 feet, and then eventually it's out to 15 feet. Well, that changes your game because
Harder
when
to
you've got
shoot.
that much room in back of the net, it's a lot different than when it's crowded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's farther to shoot too.
Right.
We have heard about you playing hockey game for the March of Dimes with your family.
Right.
How did the game come out?
Come
The
about.
game
Come about?
come about.
Yeah.
Okay, that game was a family reunion. And my brother Mark, who's the 95-year-old, he and his wife had a family reunion and offered to play a game for the March of Dimes.
That's a great
And so,
organization.
So how'd you get everybody pulled together for that?
Mark just called everybody and
Yeah.
he said, "Hey, I need you for a game."
Did it fill out the whole game with everybody?
We played.
Or were you one side?
We were just on. There was the 9 boys and 6 of the nephews.
Uh-huh.
So we had 15. We had to play a game against the local senior team that was from
Oh.
Peoria.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so we
amazing.
played them. We borrowed a goaltender. We borrowed their number 2 goaltender and put him in the nets, and then we played for them. It was a full game except for the last period we played fast time. What we consider fast time because we don't take the timeouts when blind.
How'd you guys do?
I started the game along with all of the older boys, but it put me on the wing, and I was able to score in the first minute and a half. So that got this off to a 14-5 win.
Oh my goodness.
That's a high scoring game.
Yeah, it was,
That's a
yeah.
big win, you guys.
Yeah, well, after the second period, we held off a little.
That was nice of you. If I would have played, I would have kept full force. Did you play any other sports in school?
I played in high school. I did.
Yeah.
Tennis, and we had 8-man football then.
That's not very many.
No, but those were special for small schools. I went to a school with only 125 students.
Yep. So did you?
Yeah.
So did you? So do you like football?
I like football, sure.
So
I like all sports.
it's off topic, but what NFL team do you support?
NFL,
Or
the Detroit Lions.
I like the Lions.
Yeah.
They've had some good players over the years.
Oh, yeah.
What is your team?
I like the Pittsburgh Steelers
Pittsburgh Steelers.
and
Yeah.
Ohio State.
And well, obviously, I like Michigan State's football team.
Yeah.
I like Michigan State better than Michigan.
That's understandable.
No one likes
I
Michigan.
like Michigan State too.
And I'm a big Cincinnati Reds fan.
Oh, sure. That's great. Detroit Tigers are my team.
I know one legendary Tiger. I think his name was Al Kaline.
Oh, yeah. He was a good one.
Yep.
And he came right out of high school. He
You don't
started
really,
playing,
you
yeah.
don't really see that much these
Yeah.
days.
I think there's rules against
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you-
one other thing. There's one sport that I played that most people don't play.
What would that be?
Log rolling.
What is?
Okay, log
Log
rolling.
rolling.
This sport is actually called birling. B-I-R-L-I-N-G.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, that's when the 2 guys get on the log
Oh, I know
and
that.
start rolling.
Now I know that.
Okay, and one falls off.
That's
The
fun.
Olympics, yeah, the Olympics thing.
It was an Olympics.
There's one thing you might like to know. There's 3 steps toward a championship. You have the first log called number 1. It's 20 inches in diameter.
It's crazy.
and it's only for 2 minutes. And if both of you keep standing, you go on the number 2 log. And you go, at that time, you went down to 3 minutes on the number 2 log. If you're both still standing, you go down to the number 3 log, which is only 13 inches in diameter.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and you have 6 feet on each side. That's your territory.
Yeah.
And you roll them until 2 out of 3 falls.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I heard you say when you came in that you like beer, right?
Yeah.
If you had to choose to drink which one, what would your...
Oh, Bud Light.
That's a good choice.
Miller Lite.
Do you follow any other sports? What are your favorite professional teams? I think
Well,
you've
you
already told
did
us.
that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Were you ever asked to play professional hockey?
Only at a minor league level, and actually, at our time when I was coming up, my brother was playing in the American Hockey League for the Cleveland Barons.
Never heard of them.
No,
So,
well that's an old team in the American Hockey League.
so are the Cleveland Bears the Chicago Blackhawks now?
No, the Barons
are they?
were actually New York's team,
Which New York team?
Rangers. There was no,
New York
there was
Rangers.
only one New York team at that time.
That's crazy. Now they got like 3 or 4.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know.
The $1 million question burning in everyone's thoughts. When did you move to Findlay and why?
45 years ago.
Wow.
Let me see, 45 years ago, to become manager of what is now the Cube. It was the Hancock Recreation Center at the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I managed that for a few years. And then I went back into the rink business as a representative of various components of an ice rink.
That's cool. So, since you've lived here for 45 years, what's your favorite thing about Findlay, Ohio?
Just the atmosphere. It's a nice small town. I'm from a small town, about the same as Marquette,
Yeah.
as far as size-wise, and it's a good city to raise your children.
Yeah. It's nice and quiet and
Yeah.
peaceful. And it's expanded over the years.
Oh yes.
What is your favorite restaurant or food?
My favorite restaurant or food?
Yeah.
I think here in Findlay, it would be the Beer Barrel.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
They get,
And my favorite food is chicken, and not the wings.
Yeah.
Chicken strips or chicken, whatever they call them at that restaurant.
now me and you are in the same category.
That's
I love
good.
chicken like that too.
Good.
I think we would. Oh,
You missed that one.
do you have any hobbies other than playing hockey?
Photography. When I was
Oh, really?
when I was younger, and, especially when I was traveling, the U.S. teams, the national teams, travel all through Europe when they go over.
Yeah.
And so I was, for instance, we were the first team, the U.S. team in 1958, of which I was captain. We were the first North American team to go play in Russia.
Awesome.
Yeah, we played in Russia for an exhibition series in 58 and in 59.
So, I got another question for you. What was your first ever car you purchased?
First ever car?
Yeah.
I was in the Air Force, and one of the fellows that worked with me was selling his Chevy.
That's cool.
And so for $400, I was able to buy a new Chevy.
Can't get stuff that cheap these days.
Yeah.
No. Okay, I think we could spend so much more time with Mr. Olsen, but we may need to end things soon. Do you want to ask him your famous last question?
It would be an honor.
Okay.
Do you consider a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Thanks for your time. It was an honor to meet you.
Well, I'm glad to come here, and I'm glad to meet you.
Yeah,
You seem like a pretty cool guy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So do you.
Thanks.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Thank you. Woohoo!
KanDuGroup provides opportunities and experiences for adults with developmental disabilities. This can only happen with the support of area businesses and community members like you. Thank you. For more information, contact www.kandugroup.org.